Well, hello and welcome to the show. On this episode, I'm speaking with former supermodel Kim Alexis. Now, Kim is one of the most recognized faces in the modeling industry. In fact, she's been on over 500 magazine covers. Additionally, she's appeared in 6 Sports Illustrated swimsuit issues, as well as walked the runway for top designers around the world. Now, on this episode, we talk about everything from her health and wellness passion, which seems to have been the through line to her passion since before modeling. In fact, she just happened to stumble upon modeling. It wasn't even a passion or really even a desire of hers. So we talk about that, what she's up to these days, plus more. So get ready because you do not want to miss this episode. Welcome to MOMetize Your Passion, a place for moms with big dreams and an eagerness to turn them into a thriving reality. Whether you're a mother looking to monetize your talents, transition from a stagnant job, or explore a fun side hustle, you're in the right place. I'm Caroline, wife, mother, and the visionary behind Tinseltown Mom, a platform dedicated to helping moms to embrace and pursue their God-given dreams. After interviewing nearly 100 celebrities for my platform, one common theme stands out in their success stories: passion. As a former actress, current writer, celebrity blogger, and certified life coach, passion has always been at the core of my journey. And through it all, I've discovered the power of honing our gifts, learning from our past, and using our experiences to uplift others. Join me on the show as I explore stories of celebrity moms and successful mompreneurs, uncovering the roadmap to their accomplishments. I'll also be sharing business and marketing tips to guide you towards tangible ideas for making money. Here, my hope is that you'll find inspiration from God, encouragement, and practical insights to MOMetize your passion. Hi, Kim. Welcome to the show.
Thank you. Thanks for having me.
I'm so excited to have you on. I love your hair. Did you just get it done?
No, it's kind of growing out. And this morning when I woke up, you would have been laughing crazily because it was everywhere. So as it's getting longer, it's kind of doing its own thing. So it's got a natural wave and I have to just kind of let it go. I don't want to fuss too much. So this is what you get.
I love it. So on my show, I love talking to moms about passion and purpose and even encouraging our kids to pursue those things. You know, it helps if we're pursuing them so they can have a model. And I know for you, like when you were younger, you had your own passions that you were pursuing even before modeling. Is that true?
Well, modeling started at 18. So when I was in school, I thought my only job was really to be a good student, be a good daughter, and I was swimming. So my other passion was having fast swim times and beating everybody. So it was very performance based. I went to New York City. I was discovered at 17, finished high school. A month later, went to New York City right after I turned 18 and just started this weird career that I had never planned on doing because I'd been a tomboy. And I found myself in New York City, number one, alone with no parents or supervision, no teachers telling me what I had to do. And I could do or be whatever I wanted, but also this whole thing about external look versus performance-based versus all these other things that I'd been good at. And I was a fish out of water. I had no idea of what fashion was and what I was supposed to do. And I literally was pushed into a business that I had no business being in.
Yeah, no, I remember that story that you told. You actually thought you were going to be a pharmacist, right?
Well, when you're like in high school, you have to pick a profession. And so you kind of do one of these things, and look.
Yeah.
When you're 16, 17, 18, what you really want to do. But I figured, okay, I love the idea of cause and effect, and what we put in our body can help with some other aspect of being healthy. So as I, of course, didn't go to pharmacy school, but progressed with modeling and was always trying to stay young and cutting edge and on top of it and bright-eyed and good skin and all those things, I realized that health played a very big part in looking good. So I transferred that passion of cause and effect to how you think about yourself and what you put in your body and how often you're going to exercise and all those different lifestyle choices we make every single day make them healthy versus non-healthy. Because I did a lot of non-healthy at Studio 54 and when I was my young years in New York City trying to figure things out. And I didn't like the way I felt. So I loved the feeling of getting up in the morning and having this sense of purpose and doing things and being beneficial to society.
So I love that you said cause and effect. That was a passion of yours, because that does make sense. I could see why you would go into a pharmacy career, but it was probably tied into your health and wellness. Is that a passion of yours today, would you say, like the health and wellness aspect?
Oh, yeah, definitely. It's very much front and center because I want to look and feel my best all the time. And just because I'm older doesn't mean I have to slow down, doesn't mean I have to compromise if possible. Like you kind of, as you get older, get angry when your body doesn't do what you want it to do. And so I want to maintain as much of that health and youth as I can for as long as I can, because I don't want to be achy and infirmed at any point.
Yeah. Yeah. So going back when you fell into the modeling, because you were really discovered, and initially, I think I heard you say on a podcast that it really wasn't an interest of yours, but it developed into an interest. Is that how that happened?
Yes. So I had no plans, didn't even know what modeling was really. I didn't know fashion magazines. I had never really gotten the magazines, never studied them like some other young girls did. So for me, it was very much fitness and 5.5 hours a day of swimming. And I was in the concert and marching band, and I was an honor society student. So I was a good student. And so I was busy. I was doing other things. And so I really never thought about that outward appearance at all.
So yeah, I could see how, and again, the health and the wellness played a part in your journey. I know that when we're pursuing something, whether it's a passion or just a desire, I feel like sometimes on the road to that journey, sometimes we get detoured. Maybe it's God who's opening that detour, or maybe we're just getting in the way of where we're really supposed to be.
Knowing that difference is very important.
Yes, it's very important, because I love encouraging moms to pursue their God-led passions, because I feel like that can open the door to a fulfilling purpose. And of course, sometimes on the journey to fulfilling that passion or pursuing it, we get off track for whatever reason. Now, yes. Now, do you feel like when you were pursuing the modeling, did that turn into a passion for you, or was it just something that you enjoyed doing? Like, what was the thought back then?
I can't even say that I really enjoyed it. It was an opportunity that was put in front of me. And because I was so successful immediately, I had a cover of Italian Bazaar within 4 days of starting to work. So I think God had to do that for me, because otherwise I would have gone off and gone back to college. So it had to be something that was fairly successful right away. And so I realized, all I've got to do is show up, work hard, accept the right bookings. I really learned at a young age, way before branding and protecting the brand, that there were certain things that were going to be good for me in the long run and certain things that I shouldn't do, like Playboy or cigarette commercials, or, there were things that I turned down, even though they were big money, because I wanted to be authentic in the message I delivered, and I wasn't going to feel comfortable delivering certain messages. So I'm like, I can't even do that, because I'm just so transparent in my face that everyone will know. So I wanted to really be true to my brand, and literally always tuning back in, like, what's important? Who am I? What do I feel comfortable doing? Where should I go next? I was always tuning into that. And because I had sometimes 14 job opportunities in a day.
Wow. Now, was this by choice, Kim, or did you have a manager kind of managing your career?
Yes. No, I had an agency. I was with Elite Models. And so, yes, but so the bookers, they were called bookers, who would pick up the phone and get all the job offers.
So your agency is what got you the opportunities, and which I understand, because I was pursuing acting for years, way back in the day. And sometimes my agency would say, oh, I want you to go on this audition. But because of my values, like there was a lot of things that I just didn't want to do or just didn't align with my values. And I know
Right.
you grew up in church and faith played a part early on. And of course, today it's your faith is stronger. But did that play a part initially in the decisions that you made as far as what you would and would not do?
Yes, it did without me necessarily knowing. I think that I just sometimes we do things and it's for the right reason, but you can't identify why.
That's
Sometimes we do the
true.
wrong things. So I can't say that back then I would give credit to God or do it in his honor. It
Yeah.
was more that I just went with my gut feeling. And if
Mhm.
something felt off or I got that nauseous feeling, I learned that I was being controlled or manipulated.
Yeah.
And so I really just would tune into those things because they're very important to
Yeah.
me. You really have to go with that gut. And what is that gut? That gut for some of us is God speaking to us. So
Yes. And it's interesting that you're saying that the modeling was, you felt like maybe it never really was a passion, but sometimes it's a feeling, I guess, or the drive to be a passion, or maybe the outcome of like a success. So for some
yeah.
people, success is a passion, but the modeling itself wasn't necessarily a passion.
Right. It was more, I guess, when I look back on it, was a stepping stone. So I knew it was not for the next 50 years. Modeling is not something you do for 50 years. I was kind of retired at 28, after like 10 years of working. So I knew that I could also, in the back of my mind, I knew I could do anything I put my mind to. I could go back to college. I could have gone off and pursued something else. And so I took the opportunity that was given to me and I worked hard, very, very hard. I mean, I sacrificed a lot in those first 5 years. I mean, I worked all the time. And so I tell that to my sons who are now all in their 30s. And I'm like, I wasn't happy with where I lived or what I was doing. And I didn't have a lot of friends and I didn't go out and do a lot of extra fun things or go on vacations. I was working. I just spent that time building and building and building and working. And then as you get older, you can cruise a little bit.
Yeah. Now, what made you retire? Was that your choice?
Retire means finding something else to do and leaving the modeling business. So at the age of 27, I guess I was asked to be the fashion editor at Good Morning America. So I was on TV weekly. And so I transitioned into broadcasting and realized I loved being able to speak while I was on camera. And it wasn't just me standing there as a model and not able to say anything. So it became something that I really enjoyed. And I got offered other hosting jobs for shows. And so I went off and did that for years and years. And then from that, I transitioned into speaking. And I was
Right.
on the speaking circuit for a long time. In the meantime, I had written a couple books. And so I would speak and then go and sell my books. And then I transitioned off into writing eBooks and kind of just getting credibility. I wanted to be credible. I wanted to be somebody who had a voice and had something to say. For me, that's my inner drive is to bring people along. Hey, you can do it too.
Mm-hmm. And modeling definitely set you up for all of the things that were to come for your life.
Yes.
So when did you become a mother during all of this?
I was 25.
Oh,
So I was in the middle of my Ultima 2 Revlon contract, I believe, and had my first son. He's now 38. And so 6 months later, I did a Sports Illustrated swimsuit and ran the New York City Marathon. So he didn't
oh my
slow me down
goodness.
any. I just would take him with me wherever I
Yeah.
went. I was living in Florida at the time with him. And so I would have a nanny and we'd go back and forth weekly because I was working at Good Morning America and that was on every week live.
Now, did you ever think at any point that during this stage, when your son was younger, that it would slow you down or you would stop doing that? Or did you always have this drive that you would just keep going?
Yeah. The poor little guy had to keep up.
So you have three sons, is that correct?
I have, yes. Yep.
Now, what would you say to a mother? Let's say there's a mother, she's got kids and she's had all these different ambitions and she had a drive once, but she
Right.
feels like she's stagnant in her motherhood phase and she feels stuck even. Like, what would you say to that mom?
I would say that you've only got a small block of time with your kids when they're home under your roof and you can influence them. And that it's okay sometimes to put aside your own drives so that you can be a great mother. And once you've poured that time and energy into being a great mother, and then you let your kids go off and fly out of the nest, to me, that was what worked for me, is to then be able to go back and pursue. So I spent a lot of time sacrificing and putting my sons first. And I think that it just makes great young men, and you can look back and rest and say, hey, I did it. I did it for them. And then you go back and do what you need to do for yourself. And I don't think it's too late, especially in this day and age, to develop careers later in life. I think there's a lot of very successful women out there who have waited and, as I said, sacrificed, and then they go off and do what they have in mind. We don't have to dry up just because our kids have gone. And when you're a mother, you have so much purpose of just being a mother, and those blinders sometimes are on, and all of a sudden they're gone and you're like, okay, who am I? What am I supposed to do? That weird feeling. I remember my youngest son, when he finally went off to college, took me like 2 weeks of kind of just walking around like, what the heck am I supposed to do now? And then I'm like, oh, okay. And then just kind of figured it out, went off in this one direction, and celebrated that new freedom versus mourning it.
Yes.
I knew that I'd done my job and that I had given my best, and that was okay for me to turn towards what I wanted to do.
Yeah. And sometimes it's just, maybe it's an hour a day of just working on something that is fulfilling for that mom. Like, let's say their kids are really young and they don't have a lot of time. And then, that can grow, as the kids get older. But I feel like moms, they definitely need those things that light them up. They need to pursue those things and, find fulfillment in those things.
Yeah, I, for some reason, couldn't do both at the same time. I remember trying to take a bath for 15 minutes and the boys would be barging in needing something. I'm like, I can't even have 15 minutes. Or my oldest son once caught me plucking my eyebrows. He's like, Mom, he was horrified. What are you doing? So I'm like, I am being a girl. Just let me be a woman for 10 minutes. He's like,
right.
He didn't like it. What are you doing?
Oh, yeah. I looked forward to them just taking those naps like for 2 hours when they were really young. Like even though I knew I needed to sleep. And, I know I'm different from a lot of mothers because I've always had this drive. I think it's never stopped. And I know every mother is not like that. But I felt like during those times, even though I probably needed to sleep when they were sleeping, I just felt this drive to just keep going. So it looks different for every mom. I will say that.
Yes, yeah. It definitely does.
Yeah. Hey, moms, are you seeking to uncover and monetize a passion inspired by God? Or perhaps you're seeking a strategic approach to turn your dreams into reality? If so, then book a one-on-one coaching call with me. I can help you tap into your passion, assist with market research to validate your ideas, monetization and marketing goals, plus more. Now, if that sounds of interest, then complete the coaching application in the show notes to determine if we're compatible for working together. Again, that application will be in the show notes. I hope you're enjoying this episode. So now health and wellness, I feel like that's something that you're pursuing full time just in everything that you do. So can you just talk a little bit about that health and wellness career that you have today?
Yes. Well, number one, all of us make choices every day, and we make choices to go towards health or away from health. If you really think about it, each meal really is going towards health or away from health. And so for me, we all have to spend that time eating. We all have to spend that time going grocery shopping. And so my passion is healthy alternatives, finding the healthier way, or the way that's going to make you feel better, because it's better to handle it right then versus go off and then have to reset. So I think just really spending that time being aware of what you're putting into your body, whether it's even a TV show, or what music you're listening to, or how you're spending your free time. All that is just super important. And it's kind of just the way I am. So it's just kind of what's naturally developed as I've gotten older, that we can always choose a healthier way to be. And I just find that that's what works for me.
Oh, I love that you said that, because even what you, like you mentioned, what you put in your mind, because I
Yes.
know for me, like I'm a news junkie. And I mean, I always start my day off reading scripture and praying. Before I get out of the bed, I start the day like that. But there used to be a time when, like, before I went to bed, I'd be on my phone, like looking at the news feed, like right before bed.
Oh boy.
And I felt like that really affected me.
Yeah.
And
Yeah.
I feel like sometimes moms don't even realize, because maybe they're just scrolling on Instagram, maybe being envious of someone else's life. Maybe there's a mom out there that's like, oh, I wish I could have that life. And they don't even realize that's affecting them in a negative way.
Right. And even I can get envious. I can't look at some of the other things, and we all paint this partial picture of who we really are. And all of us have struggles. All of us, I mean, I've met a ton of famous people, and everybody has something that they would like to be different.
Yeah.
Models have something on themselves that they wish that they were born with something different, or that's what they think is a defect, or we all have that. And I think that when regular people hear that, it might make them feel better that they're not alone.
Yes,
Not like we
absolutely.
walk around like I'm perfect and I don't need to fix anything. And no, to me, it's always like, what can I do better? And how can I be a better person? And how can I strive to be healthier? And what can I do with my time? I mean, even sometimes at a red light, it's like, okay, Lord, I have a minute. I'm going to talk to you
Yes.
instead of picking up my phone. I think I remember one time I was driving with my middle son, Bobby. He was about 15 or so, and the phone rang, and he's like, Mom, aren't you going to get that? And I said, no. And he says, why? Why aren't you getting it? I said, because someday when I'm old and you're taking care of me, I want you to spend time with me versus being on your phone. So I'm setting a good example now.
Yes,
Like,
absolutely. I love that. I do that too. Like when I just pick up my kids from school and someone calls,
yeah.
so I don't take that time away. Yeah, that's good. So for Kim Alexis, like what does your health and wellness day look like? Like what's a typical day for you? Just for those of us who need some motivation, food wise
Yeah.
too.
Nothing's typical, first of all. So a lot of traveling. We just came back from Turkey. We were in Istanbul. And so I'm always adjusting, and I'm always looking at each individual meal and each individual situation, and what can I do and how can I make myself better. So, I mean, sometimes you're presented with meals or situations, and you've just got to take the best of the best. And so
Yeah.
every day for me is different. I do try some form of exercise every day. It's important for me to get out. I have a huge dog, so I walk him every day. But then I go to the gym once or twice. I'll maybe do cardio in the morning. I used to run, and I got clipped by a huge dog at the dog park, and it tore my knee. And so I'm
Wow.
benched from running. And so trying to figure out at this age of my life how I can get my cardio in. So I've taken up biking, and I have just a single speed beach bike that I ride on the sidewalks or on the side of the road. Or in the parks or whatever. We have a lot of trails out here in Arizona. And so for me, just getting out and then lifting at the gym. So I like to lift free weights and
Mhm.
dumbbells, and I'll go with all the guys, all the young guys at the gym. And I just dive right in there on one of the benches and just do my dumbbells. And I think because I'm a mother of boys, I love being around all the other young guys that are lifting. So
Yeah.
I'm not intimidated by that. And just really enjoy going to the gym also.
Yeah. Now, what about food wise? Like, what does a typical breakfast look like for you?
Sometimes eggs, sometimes I don't eat. If you've been watching my Instagram, you know that I got a sourdough starter about a month or two ago, and that sucker has taken over my kitchen. So I have made sourdough everything. And so, and I use sometimes einkorn flour, which is non-hybridized wheat. It's the original wheat that God made. So
Hmm.
it's it's better for you. And sourdough is good because it helps with the digestion and the prebiotics and all that. So for me, there's that, or I love also a green shake. So I put in a lot of greens, like salad greens, and some fruit and some pea protein and some minerals. And then sometimes I can add beet powder or moringa or amla. There's just a lot of different things, chia seeds, or all of them.
Are there any things that you can think of? Let's say there's a mom, she's just stretched and she's just super busy. She doesn't have time to add all those different greens to her shake, for example. Like, is there something basic that she can maybe eat that's going to help her, or do that's going to help her journey, or just make things better for her life?
Well, we're always at the grocery store. And so what you choose to put in your basket is important. I always have one of those big things of like spring mix or greens in my house. And I try not to ever run out. And I try to have a bag of frozen fruit, and I keep protein powder. I like the vegan pea protein. I don't like the whey. And so I make sure that I'm stocked and that those things are always there, because I need to grab and go in 5 minutes also. And so I just have all that there right next to my blender and just slap it all in. And to me, that's as quick as I can get. So
Yeah.
preparation, it's just setting your mind like, how can I tee this up where it would be easy down the road? And part of it is that preparation, getting things in your pantry, in your closet, in your refrigerator, so that you're always ready.
Yeah. I feel like I always want to start the day with the best meal, like in a shake, and just put it all in a shake and just blend it all together. I feel like I just want to start the day with that healthy choice.
Yeah.
That's helpful. Like to start the day.
Sometimes it's hard for me to munch on a whole salad during the day. Because I like a big hefty portion of salad. So I just shove that in the shake.
Yeah.
Easier to drink.
Exactly. Yeah. So career-wise, Kim, like what all do you do? I know you do so much today. Like tell us everything that you're working on.
I'm working on probably 10 alternative things. Some of them are for like, I'm trying to develop a jail ministry for women coming out of jail to help rehabilitate them and get them back into the workforce. I am working with the Holocaust Museum here in Phoenix. We're trying to get a Holocaust museum here. Phoenix is the 5th largest city in the United States and the only one that doesn't have a Holocaust museum.
Wow.
So that's important, and do a lot of charity work. So I do charity work for golf events of my friends around the country. I'm leaving in 2 days and I'm going to 2 different events in Florida. And so that's important. But business-wise, I'm developing health and wellness. So I've just signed a contract with Shea Homes, their Trilogy division, which is for like 55 plus people who are interested in finding a place that's very active, and they have beautiful clubhouses and golf courses and spas, and it's a great development and a great place to visit. And so they're around the country now. And what's fun is we're just at the beginning. So I just signed the contract, developing wellness with fitness and health and menus and just lifestyle of how you can get out and stay active and think healthy and be healthy.
So you're their brand ambassador?
I'm their wellness ambassador. Yes.
Oh, okay. Yeah, I've seen some of their developments out in Southern California. They're beautiful.
Yes, they're very nice, very peaceful. Couple that I've been at are very peaceful and great. So, yep, I look forward to that. I love the idea of, as you know, talking about health and wellness. So, just getting people aware and enthusiastic of just being mindful of what they're doing and how they're spending their time.
Now, are you actually going to be traveling to the different Trilogy sites?
Yes.
Oh, wow. And you also have a column for, is it health and fitness or men's health?
I had that, and then Men's Journal is repositioning. So at this time, I'm not writing for them.
Okay.
But I write for a couple of other magazines, the Elysian magazine, and there's one called Pure Living in Nashville. So I write for them. I'm trying to write for Purist, but the emails have gone back and forth, so I haven't submitted an article to them. And journalism was something I never thought of writing. I mean, if I was told in school that you're going to write someday 11 books, I'd be like, what? No, not me.
Yeah, I always tell, I even tell my kids, like, I feel like an English degree is awesome to have, especially if you do want to write. I have a master's in professional writing, but I feel like if I had an English degree, that would be better than a professional writing degree, because I feel like that would help me more in my writing. So,
Well,
yeah,
we can keep going. You just
That's
keep
true.
adding those degrees on.
that's so true. So is there anything else, Kim, with your modeling that you're doing these days, or did you completely retire from that?
So yes, modeling would be a byproduct. So it would be something I would do for Shay or for someone else. But me modeling stopped probably like right around before my 30th birthday, I guess.
Okay. Yeah.
And I had agencies for a while, and then I realized that they just were collecting us and putting us in Legends division and then not getting us jobs, or they didn't know how to brand me. So I now have and am working with an agent who understands my brand and what fits and where my message points are. So that's in development also. And my passions are from supplements to skincare, of course, and anything to do with nutrition and health.
Yeah. Well, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Kim, for being here. Is there anything else that we didn't cover that maybe you want to say that's pertaining to health and wellness and just moms in general?
Just that we have choices every day. And when you're in the grocery store, shop the outer aisles and remember that whatever's in your pantry, I mean, we all get hungry. We all get so hungry sometimes that you're just going to grab the first thing you find. And so if you keep healthy things, then you're going to grab those. So clean the pantry out. It's a tough one.
Yeah. It's hard to, when you're trying to find snacks for kids too, I've realized healthy snacks.
Yes. Yeah. I mean, I used to make my own granola and try and have nuts and different dried fruit and things for the kids. But
Yeah.
yeah, it is, because sometimes they don't want it. So the younger you can get them on the
Yes.
taste buds of being healthy versus chips and some of these other things, the easier it is.
I'm so glad you said that, because I wish, I say that to myself. I wish like younger, I would have gotten them into some of the things that I'm trying to get them into now. So yes, any moms with young kids, start young. They'll acclimate to what's healthy.
Yeah. And you know what? Mine, since they're so much older now, they turn back to me and say, Mom, thank you. Thank you for spending the time cooking and being an example and giving us only healthy things. And even though they fight it when they're younger, they do appreciate it when they're older.
Yes, absolutely. Now, where can people find you, Kim, if they want to know more about you, what you're doing?
So website is kimalexis.com, and then Instagram is _Kim Alexis. Facebook is Kim Alexis.
Awesome. I hope you learned something today. If you did, I would love to hear from you by way of an encouraging review. As you know, this platform is meant to be a blessing to mothers, so any support you give would be so appreciated. Until next time.